No.
TIGERS. 5 seconds. Fight. Mike, it's not even a top 1,000 moment all time.
Okay, Tommy, shut the hell up, man.
Mike! Of course, I'm gonna go with the right answer. It's Ryan Eads of the Baltimore Orioles. He's only wore the number 80 for 8 games. He's only one of 2 players.
You know what? No, I'm not gonna take this.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back with another episode 92, and we have a good episode planned for you today. As always, follow us on our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff. And as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you are sure not to miss an episode. Anyways, let's get right into it. Goat of the number 92. Matt, I'll swing it to you first. Who do you got?
It's got to be Reverend Reggie White. I mean, you look at his career playing on the Eagles. You can argue whether, he was better on the Eagles than the Packers. Probably better than the Eagles. But, winning a Super Bowl on the Packers really just put the cherry on top for his career. 13-time Pro Bowler, 8-time All-Pro. Like I said, that Super Bowl championship team with the Packers, Hall of Famer in the 1980s and 1990s, and obviously his whole career he was sent to the Hall of Fame. A lot of more stats that I could go into and accolades, but this guy is one of the best defensive ends that we've seen in the NFL. Whether you want to call him a defensive end or a defensive tackle, I think he flirted with both those positions. But it's got to be what Lil Wayne in the song Green and Yellow. That's for Reverend Reggie White. Rest in paradise. It's got to be Reggie.
Nice little shout out there, Matt. Connor, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I can't agree with Matt anymore. I mean, it's got to be Reggie White here. He ended his career with 198 sacks, which in 2000, when he did retire, was the all-time sacks lead. Obviously, since then, we know that has been passed. But in his 15-year career, he only had 3 seasons under the 10-sack threshold, one of those being his final season in 2000 with Carolina with 5.5. But I mean, this guy came out his rookie year in 1985, 4th overall pick, and put down 13 sacks and 100 tackles. Second year, 18 sacks. Third year, a career high 21 sacks. He came right out of the gate and just exploded. He had, 13 straight Pro Bowl appearances. This guy, he was at the elite level on the defensive side of the ball throughout the 1980s and throughout the 1990s, leading into the 2000s. I mean, we look at guys now in the NFL like Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt and T.J. Watt and guys who can get after the quarterback. And you can't help but think that a lot of these guys may have toned their game around guys like this who had 13 straight Pro Bowls and had close to 200 career sacks in their career. I mean, we always mention go to the number. It's someone who can make a difference on and off the field. I definitely think this guy, Reggie White, made a difference for the future of the NFL on the defensive side of the ball.
Another good pick there, but I'm gonna agree with you guys here. It's gotta be Reggie White. His resume jumps off the charts. I mean, almost 200 total career sacks, 13 Pro Bowls, 8-time All-Pro. He won a Super Bowl, right? A part of 2 Hall of Fame teams in the 80s and 90s, and 2 Defensive Player of the Years. I mean, you really can't go wrong. He's like your perfect defensive lineman. He was able to get after the quarterback like no one else, and he was still able to hold the line and still defend the run. So just the absolute prototype of today's pass rushing D end. Just an all-around player. But I do want to give a shout out to Michael Strahan, who is no slouch in any regards. The only issue was he was going up against Reggie White. Michael Strahan, 7-time Pro Bowl, 4-time All-Pro, won a Super Bowl with the Giants, Defensive Player of the Year in 2001, which is the year where he broke the single-season sack record with 22.5. And I think that still is standing today, if I'm not mistaken. But Michael Strahan was just another absolutely phenomenal player. He also made the Hall of Fame, but just Reggie White is that good that Michael Strahan, it's hard for him to breathe the same air as Reggie White. That's really surprising, especially considering how good Strahan was. But Reggie White here, 100%, and I'll give a shout out to Michael Strahan.
Yeah, he was actually called Reverend Reggie White because at the age of 17, he actually got ordained. And he also would spread the gospel through football. So I figured I just kept calling him Reverend Reggie White. I'm not sure if you guys even knew or fans would have even knew about that, but that's the reason why. And unfortunately, he passed away 2004. I think of sleep apnea. I'm not sure. He might have died in his sleep. Not 100% sure about that. But when you're one of the greatest players to ever play for the Packers on the defensive side of the ball, you're doing something right. Especially with a team with such a big history like Green Bay. So yeah, Mike, Strahan, great player, but yeah, I agree with you. Reggie White doesn't really touch that, in my opinion.
All right, I think this wraps up. Let's go to number 7. We got another good one in the books, and we'll be right back with our main segment.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are just 2 weeks away from the All-Star break, All-Star festivities, Home Run Derby, Future Stars games, all that great stuff, which means we are just about halfway through the MLB regular season. And boy, it has been crazy. We have a little home run battle going. Is Barry Bonds shaking in his boots right now? We could talk about that in just a second. We have the New York Yankees kind of struggling. Even Yankees fans are really not very happy with the way the team is playing right now and everything like that. And we have a pitcher who's just being the most dominant I think we've ever seen in at least recent MLB baseball history. Mike, I'm going to start with you first. We'll start with the Yankees because, they're always the important topic here. They just look really, really bad. What do you think is the problem with the Yankees?
I think it's a bunch of different issues. They're just not able to hit the ball right now. They have all this talent on the roster with Judge and Voit, DJ. Gary has been having a career year, but even with his career year, Yankees are still one of the 5 worst hitting teams in baseball, which is shocking. For years, this has been the team's strength by far, one of the top 3 offenses year after year. And this year, we are just seeing such a drop off, whether that's Aaron Judge not playing up to par, even though he's playing really well this season. Even though it's considered a down year for him, just the other role players are just not stepping up this year like they have in the past. The Gio Urshela's, the Aaron Hicks, they just are not hitting the ball that well right now. And the Yankees, they're stuck in the mud right now, especially we haven't gotten a chance to talk about the sticky stuff scandal in baseball yet, but let's be honest, it's really affecting Garrett Cole and the way he pitches, as his ERA has jumped since the MLB started enforcing the sticky stuff rule where they like check and all that stuff. And his RPMs are at an all-time low since Pittsburgh, and his strikeouts are low too. So players are putting the ball in play against the Yankees, and the Yankees aren't able to hit. I think part of that has to do on the players, part of that has to do on the hitting coach, but also some of that has to go on Brian Cashman. It's been years and he still hasn't brought in a lefty bat. It feels like the most common sense thing to bring in a lefty power bat at Yankee Stadium with that short right field porch. But Brian Cashman has yet to do that, and it's kind of ridiculous, especially considering some of the options out there this season. It really seemed like the Yankees just do not want to spend money. And for like one of the most valuable franchises in all sports, that's an absolute embarrassment. Kyle Schwarber, he didn't get a qualifying offer. He's raking in Washington. He has almost 30 home runs. He has like 15 in the past 17 days. I mean, Kyle Schwarber is absolutely hitting the crap out of baseballs. He would have been a perfect fit for New York. And the Yankees now go out and get Tim LaCastro, and he's awesome. All of us as Ithaca students, we kind of adore him, but he's not going to fix all their problems. He might steal a few bases here and then, might lie down some drag bunts, but he's not going to fix their issues. These Yankees problems go pretty deep, and if Brian Cashman does not make any moves, there's no shot they're getting past the first round of the playoffs, even if they do make it. So that's my little roundup on the Yankees as of right now.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this kind of falls on the players. I mean, you and the manager, but you look at the talent that they have. Like Mike said, they have tremendous talent. They should be definitely having better numbers, and they shouldn't be on the bottom of the hitting list in the MLB. I mean, you got guys like Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu, all of those guys, they're very talented. They should definitely be performing better. So I think that this part of this falls on the players, but you also have to think about you have to think about how great this Yankees team has been, like talent-wise, how great it's been. I mean, we said for the past 2 years they would be going to the World Series. I think we all said they would win the World Series last year, not this year. I feel like Tommy definitely did. Connor, you might have. I don't know. I think you did say they would win.
This year was their year.
Yeah, it's not their year. So I think that this kind of falls on the manager a little. I mean, Aaron Boone, am I right? That's his name. I'm okay. I don't know if Aaron Boone should quite possibly get fired at the end of this year, because they had a World Series. They've had a World Series team, and they just haven't gotten there. I know you could bring up the Houston Astros, cry a little bit about that, but at the end of the day, they haven't been to a World Series, and they really should have been to a World Series. And getting Garrett Cole, they thought that they would be for sure in a World Series last year, and they just didn't perform that way. And you could blame it on injuries. That's one thing. You could, find another thing to blame it on. But at the end of the day, I think it's time for a change at the end of the season if the Yankees don't get far into the playoffs. Now, if they come back and they get to the playoffs, they get to the conference finals or whatever the heck baseball calls it at this point, that's a different story. But I think right now where they're trending, I think they might need a change at the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean, being a Yankees fan, watching this team many times throughout the year, they don't look good. Like, they don't look like the Yankee teams of past. Balls aren't flying out of the stadium. They're not putting the ball out. They're the Bronx Bombers, and the balls really aren't flying.
Bronx deflators.
Yeah.
The Bronx groundouts.
I think the biggest thing that really I look at, and I agree with Matt here, is a lot of this has to fall on Aaron Boone. He's done a really bad job at leading this team. A couple years ago, obviously everyone heard like the mic'd up Aaron Boone getting in the face of the umpire. My guys are effing dogs in that box. Like that clip. We need that guy back to fire up your players. I remember a couple weeks ago, Sunday Night Baseball, Yankees had the bases loaded, top of the ninth against the Red Sox, tie game.
Sweet.
There was a terrible strike 3 call on Rougned Odor, way outside in the right-handed batter's box. It was called strike 3. And the pitching coach of the Yankees went out and talked to the umpire instead of Aaron Boone. Have leadership for your team. You're a former player. You know how Joe Torre went out there and defended his guys. Go out there and do it for yours. If you don't feel like you can be a manager and actually show up and defend your players and fire them up with that type of mentality and that type of fire, you're not meant to be a manager in the MLB. I mean, he's a great players coach. He knows what he's talking about and all that stuff. But when it comes down to the management and firing your players up, it's not there. And right now, what the Yankees need most is just that fire under their butts. You need Urshela to start hitting the ball. I mean, a couple years ago when we acquired him, we had no idea what we thought Gio Urshela would turn into, and he played great his first 2 years. You need Luke Voigt coming back off the IL to get going. DJ LeMahieu, he made the All-Star game. Aaron Judge is an All-Star starter. But outside of that, I mean, Stanton, it's a hit or miss. Torres really has been struggling all year. Rougned Odor, who's their lefty bat that they brought in, is hitting under 200 with 5 home runs. Gary Sanchez, Mike said he's having a career year. I wouldn't say career year. He had a really good June, but outside of June, he stunk. Everything just needs to get going. And Mike mentions the spin rate on Garrett Cole and everything. It's just everything for the Yankees has to be better if they want to have a chance. No one came into this year thinking that the Boston Red Sox at the All-Star break would be at the top of the AL East. But we're at the point now where it's no longer just a stretch for the Red Sox. They're a darn good team in the MLB, and the Yankees actually have to compete at that level, and that level with the Blue Jays, and that level with the Rays, if they want to be in the AL wildcard game, because that's where it's looking right now. They're not going to get into a division series game with the way they're playing. That's my take on the Yankees. Everything just has to be better. I think moving on over, Mike mentioned a little bit, we do have a sticky stuff problem in the MLB. You know, they're really cracking down on pitchers using sticky substances on the mound. You know, they're doing mound checks and pitcher checks after each inning. Mike, do you think this is good for the sport?
I think it was needed because I think it started to get out of hand with Spider Tack being able to raise your RPM by 300 and stuff like that. And no offense to Garrett Cole, but it turned him into like a number 3 starter. Why are you giving me that face? He had a 4.5 ERA in Pittsburgh. That's why he got dealt. Anyways, you turn him into someone who has a two something ERA winning AL Cy Youngs, and he gets a $300+ million contract from the Yankees. So I think it was needed. Do I think the MLB is approaching this situation good in any type of way? No, they are handling the situation poorly, and I wouldn't expect anything else from the MLB considering their past actions regarding other scandals. They are villainizing the players, and it's horrible for the game. I understand they're trying to save the game for a rule that hasn't been enforced for like over 70 years at this point, right? But the fact of the matter is that they are putting pitchers in risk of injury. Tyler Glasnow, he's out. We don't really necessarily know he's out because of the foreign substance, but that's his suspicion, and it makes a lot of sense because there were countless medical professionals that said, you know, this is really going to have a long-term effect on some of these pitchers. They're going to have to get surgery on their UCL tears, or they're going to have to get Tommy John. I mean, it's just not the way to approach it for the MLB. They only attacked this situation when it was right in their face, when the media was covering it and they had to do something. And the problem with the MLB and Rob Manfred is that they're reactive and not proactive. Trevor Bauer has brought up this issue for the past 4 years, and nothing has been done about it. So, you know, I understand they didn't wait until the season. This should have been done last offseason or a few off seasons before that. But you can't just do that in the middle of the season and just be like to the pitchers, you have to start pitching completely differently, because it really does change the game, right? But it's unfair to the pitchers, and you're putting them in risk of getting injured. So that's my 2 cents on the sticky stuff situation.
Matt, I know you're very against all the sticky stuff and any added advantage to any competitive sport. What do you think on this?
Let me ask you one thing. What does the sticky stuff actually do? So I understand it a little better.
It gives them better grip of the baseball, and if anyone watching has never held like a baseball, or especially an MLB baseball, the laces on a baseball are very, very barely raised above the rest of the ball. So it's very hard to grip it and get good spin on the ball. So it essentially gives them better grip on the ball, which then helps them get better spin on the ball. So like you see those curveballs that are going crazy, or the sliders that are cutting way in and out. That's because of the sticky stuff and them being able to have better grip on the baseball.
Okay.
Well, some pitchers, they're just able to do that. For like other pitchers, they just use it to like increase their spin rate so they get more strikeouts and stuff.
So not everyone uses it.
No.
Most pitchers did. Like it was like varying in like the level of fence. Like the worst was like Spider Tack, and like I guess the best would be like sunscreen and rosin, what Tyler Glasnow used. But yeah.
I mean, I think the whole thing is just sad. It's just really sad to see. I mean, the first time I really saw it in action was when they were Max Scherzer. I mean, Scherzer, they checked him. I think they check him multiple times against the Phillies, and I think didn't Girardi tell them to check?
In the middle of an inning too.
And Scherzer was having a really great game, and he's been a little cold this season, and he has a really great game, and then of course he just gets checked for sticky stuff. To see that, it's just really sad. I'm not a baseball fan to begin with, but even just seeing that in a sport is sad when you're checking your players because they're having a really, really great game. And I know it's different technicalities for multiple different sports, and you can't really compare baseball to football or something like that. I just think Tom Brady deflated the footballs to have a better grip on the ball, and it gave him an advantage there. He got suspended for games. I know it's different. I know baseball and football are different, but I don't like Connor said, I don't like when someone has a competitive advantage over everyone. I think it's different, and I'm not going to go off on baseball because I don't think I have the knowledge. I could be a little ignorant about the topic, but it's sad to see. That's all I can say, to be honest.
I'm one to side with the players on this type of situation here, and I understand the whole added competitive advantage here, but they're going to get hurt, and not just the pitchers too. With pitchers having less of a grip on the ball, Pete Alonso mentioned this. Batters don't want to be afraid every time they step in the box to get hit in the head or hitting the leg or hitting the elbow or something and break your elbow, break your hand, break your whatever, because the pitchers don't have grip on the baseball. They want to be able to go in there, step in the box, be comfortable that they're going to have a pitch to hit. It's going to be over the plate and that they can have a chance to hit the ball. Batters don't want to go in there and get hit. I don't know if you guys actually watched Tyler Glasnow's 2.5-minute press conference or whatever. He was serious about this. Obviously they're going to be against the MLB. They're taking something away that makes them better pitchers, whatever. But at the end of the day, and it comes back to that injury standpoint. I mean, injuries in baseball, injuries to your arm are so serious. I have friends who I play baseball with who have already had Tommy John surgery because they're playing collegiate baseball without this sticky stuff. I mean, a lot of pitchers probably did rely on it to increase their spin rate and help them have that competitive advantage. But like Tyler Glasnow with the sunscreen and rosin, now I don't know for sure, but I feel like a lot of them are probably using it just to avoid injuries. I mean, the elbow is a very serious thing in baseball, and you're putting a lot of strain on it. Pitchers are going out there throwing 100+ competitive pitches a game, probably close to 300 total with warm-up pitches and throwing before the game. They're putting a lot of strain on their elbows. So for them to go out there and have them feel like they are at less of a risk to get injured and put more strain on their elbow, why can't we allow them to use it? And I know we can have the same conversation then about steroids, but steroids is a completely different thing because that is a completely different added advantage to the game. But yeah, on this standpoint, I side with the players.
And also one thing you have to consider, if like 70 to 90% of all pitchers in the MLB were using it, right? Some sort of variation of it at some point. Is it really cheating if it's become like a new standard? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously it's against the rules, and some of the worst substances like Spider Tack gave like insane spin rate gain, which isn't right. But sunscreen and rosin, I'm down for. I think what the MLB needs to do this offseason, they need to standardize baseballs. I know they really tamper with the baseballs every year with juicing them in 2019 and now deadening them this year with a bunch of hitters in free agency. But I think they just got to standardize it. Either say you can go this far with this substances, but I think what they're planning to do is they have like this machine to put like mud on the ball and like dry it and stuff. But like Trevor Bauer said, do you really trust the MLB with baseballs? They could raise the seams, which is an option, right? But I don't know. I just don't trust the MLB with the baseball. I think I think you got sunscreen and rosin. That's as far as you should go.
I mean, you can see that they've messed with the baseballs just this year. I mean, we started out the year with how many no-hitters? I mean, it was we're probably close to double digits by this point. And then May and June comes around, and then all of a sudden we have this home run race type thing. Tatis is smacking the ball, Guerrero Jr. smacking the ball, Otani's putting the ball out, Schwarber has 15 home runs in 17 games. I mean, you can't tell me that that's not a switch of baseballs there from having them dead to start the year to now that they're being juiced. It's just
I think some of that is just pitchers not using sticky stuff right now.
This was the home run started even before the sticky stuff rule was really implemented, but baseball's being looked at, and people are laughing at the sport. You have pitchers like Sergio Romo after he comes off the mound and is literally pulling his pants down on field on the national TV to have him be checked by umpires. Rob Manfred's sitting back in his commissioner's office thinking that this is the great thing for baseball. He should be embarrassed. I've said this before on the show. He's the worst commissioner in the pro sports level, and he should be embarrassed for what his sport is doing right now. I understand that this competitive advantage does have to be taken away at some point. We need to have this level playing field here, but we also need to limit injuries. And we can't have this be a constant thing now in the MLB where pitchers are being checked and they're literally getting they're stripping on national television. He should be embarrassed that this is the sport that he's running right now.
I think the MLB and the players should meet, and they should find a common ground, like Mike said, to have a rosin and sunscreen or something. They should find a common ground and have that be unanimous, or as a rule, like set in stone, because I think that would be the best way to benefit this situation. Because if you're trying to run a business or a league or any type of thing, you got to have great communication, and I think that this is where baseball's really lacking, is their communication between Manfred and the players. And I said baseball's a dying sport, and I think it's slowly dying because of Rob Manfred too. You think about the problems that baseball's had in the past. Justin Turner after the World Series, that whole thing, that just died down. I haven't heard anything about that, any repercussions or anything, especially with a serious thing like COVID. And then now you got the sticky stuff. I'm sure there's multiple different, problems that baseball's had in the past few years. So I don't know. I think Rob Manfred needs to change his act. And if he wants baseball to, go back to, what it once was, I guess. I don't know. I think ultimately they should make a common ground and talk to each other, because that's the best. Communication is key.
Before I go and we talk about the all-star rosters here for the MLB, I very quickly do want to mention how dominant Jacob deGrom is. We are very close to the all-star break, and he has an ERA under 1, sitting at 0.95. Mike, I mean, you're a Mets fan. You've got to be sitting there just smiling, sitting back, enjoying yourself every time he's on the mound, knowing that you're going to see a great performance.
It's absolutely insane, the level he's pitching on right now. Every start he makes is absolute history. It really is. It's a can't miss thing, and it's something the MLB hasn't had for a while. I mean, we see it with like hitters with like Otani and Guerrero, but they're up once every 2-3 innings, and 70% of the time they don't even get on base, right? Well, with deGrom, you're seeing him pitch every inning, and he's just so dominant and powerful. He has 3 pitches he uses, and he's the best pitcher in baseball, just a fastball, slider, and a changeup. I mean, you want to go to young pitchers and talk about fundamentals. You show them a game of Jacob deGrom, just absolute mastery of him tunneling his fastball and sliders together. I mean, he's throwing 100 on the regular, getting up all the way to 102, right? Painting the black, and then his slider is dropping off insanely as well. And he was the first pitcher to get checked with this sticky stuff. And I saw some people were saying, oh, he was using sticky stuff because he grabbed his belt. No, he's not. He's just that darn good. If he was using that sticky stuff, I think he would have an ERA under 0.5. But anyways, just trying to wrap it up here. As of right now, if he continues on this pace, this is going to be the best pitching season of all time, and he should be the unanimous NL MVP. We have never seen anything like this. I think he has 14 strikeout performances up to this point. The rest of the MLB has 3 total. It's absolutely ludicrous, and he broke the ERA plus stat. It's a little bit down now. But for those who don't know, ERA plus is basically an advanced stat that puts all the pitchers on a level playing field and takes like the BS kind of out of like what goes in the ERA. And basically plus 100 is like the average for a pitcher. Anything above 150 is elite. Some of the best pitching seasons of all time, like Pedro Martinez, are just above 200. deGrom is at plus 403 right now. That's insane. And early in the season, he was at like plus 720. We've never seen anything close to this from a pitcher. And I really hope he continues it because it's just so awesome. And it's sad that the Mets are banged up like they are right now. But this is the best pitching seat. This is the best pitcher we've ever seen in this current form, 100%. And it's kind of crazy that we're able to live and tell that story, but that's the way he's pitching right now.
Yeah, I can't think about any other way to put it. I mean, it's dominance every 5th day for the Mets. Every time he steps out there, that you're going to get 7 innings from him, and you need 2 runs. If your offense can give you 2 runs, you're going to win a baseball game. That's the mentality that the Mets go into every time Jacob deGrom is on the mound. I mean, it's dominance. Dominance is the word. Matt, do you have anything about Jacob?
Greatness. That's another word. I mean, on yesterday, I think it was Friday, the Braves game, he had a difficult first inning. I mean, he allowed 3 runs against the Braves, but he still was dominant. I mean, I'm reading a CBS article right now. It said his worst start of 2021. That's pretty good. I mean, I think any pitcher would take a 14 strikeout day, on a normal day. So I think when you're looking at that, his worst game is probably one a pitcher wants. So it's just dominance, greatness, and he's had a fantastic season.
Yeah. Very, very quickly here, I'm just going to run down the AL and the NL MLB rosters. We don't really have to talk about snubs and dubs, but just wanted to get it out there since the starters were announced just the other day. So at catcher for the American League is Salvador Perez. This is his 6th All-Star game start. And for the National League, it's Buster Posey from the Giants. A resurgent star there for the Giants. The Giants is secretly a very good team throughout the first half of the MLB. His 5th All-Star game start. At first base, we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the American League, and for the National League, Freddie Freeman. Second base is another Blue Jay, Marcus Semien, and for the National League, Adam Frazier, his first All-Star game start from the Pirates. He's having a great breakout season, hitting .327 with just an 11% strikeout rate. He's really come firing off. The Pirates aren't a very good team, so a lot of people don't look at the Pirates, but Adam Frazier's having a very good year. Third base, Rafael Devers for the American League, and Nolan Arenado, the first-year Cardinal for the National League. Shortstop, Xander Bogaerts. You see a lot of AL East names in this All-Star game starting lineup for the American League. National League, you know who it has to be. It's Fernando Tatis. Guys lighting it up. For the American League, their outfield is Mike Trout. I was confused about that pick. He hasn't played much. Definitely other All-Star outfielders who could have taken that position since he was injured and is still injured. Aaron Judge, the New York Yankees, in the outfield, and Teoscar Hernandez, another Blue Jay, is in the outfield. Runners up for the outfield for the American League, Byron Buxton, Michael Brantley, Cedric Mullins, who I think should have taken Mike Trout's spot, Randall Grichuk, Adolis Garcia, and Alex Verdugo. The National League outfielders are Ronald Acuna Jr., Nick Castellanos, and Jesse Winker, 2 Reds, both making their first All-Star game starts. Both have really been lighting up the MLB throughout this first half. And the NL outfielder runners-ups were Mookie Betts, Chris Taylor, Jock Peterson, Mike Yastrzemski, Bryce Harper, and Juan Soto. Some great all-star game starting lineups right there. It's always a good time to it's always a great time anytime the all-star game gets together. And it being in Colorado this year, the home run derby is going to be so electric. So many home runs are going to be hit. Shohei Ohtani is going to be part of that home run derby. Any final thoughts about the MLB from you guys?
Yeah, Cedric Mullins got absolutely snubbed. 100%. He needs to be on that roster. He could be over Trout and Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous why both Teoscar Hernandez and Trout has been playing great, but he hasn't even played 40 games this season.
He's on the 60-day IL. He's not eligible to come off the IL until after the All-Star break.
I mean, he's just purely on the All-Star roster because of respect, and obviously he's the best player, in baseball. But even if I think there are better options like Michael Brantley that he could have thrown in there with Cedric Mullins. But Cedric Mullins needs to be on that roster 100%. Above 150 OPS plus, has 4 WAR. He's been awesome this season, and he deserves some respect.
Matt, any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, you guys saw that we posted our GOAT picks on our Instagram on Friday night. So those are going to be up there. We're not going to do GOAT picks on the episode, but we are going to go right into our GOAT of the week right after this.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back. No GOAT picks this episode. Hopefully, eventually we'll get GOAT picks back on episodes. We've been saying we would, just haven't. But we got the GOAT of the week. Always have the GOAT of the week. Last week was a great GOAT of the week. Shohei Ohtani did win for Connor. Close race, though. I'm pretty sure DeAndre Ayton was a little behind there. Mike's guy, what's his name? Don't even remember. I think
honestly, I don't remember.
Wander Franco.
Yeah, Wander Franco.
He had a few votes too, so I think that there was a very close race at the end of the day.
Mike got the most important vote of the week. He got Tommy's vote.
There you go.
There you go. He got Tommy's vote.
That he doesn't count for like 5.
Yeah, no, I think Tommy is going to sway towards Connor again this week. Connor, you won last week. You did win GOAT pick, so I'll give you the floor for that if you want.
Yeah, I didn't say anything on the episode for the entire 3 months because that's what's messed me up the past couple times. Is I got a little greedy with an early lead, and then I talked my mouth off, and then things didn't go my way. So I really kept my mouth shut throughout the duration of the season. I really pulled away. You guys, I need some better competition up here now. I'm the first 2-time winner. Give me a little bit of better competition. I'm already 2-0 to start the new year with 2 more games coming up. Come on, let's fire it up. Let's make this a competitive time on GOAT Chat. Let's go.
The new year, it's a new season, but yeah, I mean, you are 2-0 start out. You do realize that I was close behind you, and then I had to start picking against you, and you just kept winning. So I theoretically was close to you.
You lost by 7. That's what it came down to.
But
you lost by 7.
Oh my gosh. Theoretically, I was close to you. Theoretically, if I kept guessing like there wasn't a competition, I would be like 3-4 away from you. But I had to pick against you, obviously, to have a chance. So I did that, and I ended behind 7. I'm fine with that. I always finish second for some reason.
It does feel great to have the crown back on my head, though, right where it belongs. I was the first GOAT picks winner, and now I'm the most recent. We're just gonna keep it going. We're going back to back.
All right.
That's what I said last time.
And he claims he's going back to back this week for GOAT of the week. So
I have won the past 2 GOAT of the weeks, and we're gonna make it 3. And we're going with the same player as last week because he's just that dominant. It's once again Shohei Ohtani. He leads the MLB in home runs now with the first player to hit 30, including 2 on Friday night and the game-winning run to walk it off for the Angels. Over his last 7 games, he's hitting .423 with a .483 on-base percentage with another 7 home runs, 12 RBIs, 11 hits, and 2 stolen bases. This guy is unbelievable. In his first series at Yankee Stadium, he hit 3 home runs. That's that lefty short porch there. He's got that great lefty swing. And I mentioned it when we opened up our our MLB topic. Is Barry Bonds, is he shaking in his boots right now with that home run derby or that home run crown? I don't think it gets to that point, but Shohei Ohtani is lighting up the MLB. And at this point, I don't think there's anyone more deserving of a midseason AL MVP award than Shohei Ohtani. We got to remember, this kid is only 27 years old. His birthday is actually July 5th. So his birthday is on Monday. So a quick little happy birthday shout out to Shohei Ohtani, where he turns 26, but he is only 26 years or 28 years old. He's so young and he's still got so much more to experience the MLB. This kid's going to be really good. We've seen it. He's the GOAT of the week again.
All right, well, there's his midseason AL MVP. Like, that means anything, to be honest.
How many times have we come onto the show and given out midseason awards, Matt? Don't give me that.
Yeah, and how many times were you wrong? I was the only one who went with Aaron Rodgers, and look what happened. I was the only one who went with Aaron Rodgers, and look what happened. He ended up winning the MVP. So I would just calm down a little, just sit down, and we'll listen to Mike give his GOAT of the week.
Connor, you got to pump the brakes, man. We can't start comparing Shohei Ohtani after, he really truly raged for 1 year to Barry Bonds. I mean, come on, let's pump the brakes a little. Anyway,
I'm not comparing to Barry Bonds. But
you just compared.
I didn't compare. I did not compare. I said that Barry Bonds may be holding on to that home run record for not too much longer.
What, like single season home run record?
Single season.
What he hit? 66?
I think it's like 73.
Oh my goodness.
But he was on roids.
Well, yeah, there you go. Roids. Period.
All right. Whatever. Shohei, great player. I honestly can't trash on that. He's phenomenal. But one player who is more deserving than Shohei Ohtani is Chris Paul, CP3, finally advancing to his first NBA Finals after 6 full NBA years of just playoff disappointment after playoff disappointment. And he came through. He came through in Game 6 against the Clippers in LA, dropping 41 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, along with 3 steals on insane shooting splits, about 67% from the field and 87.5% from 3. He absolutely showed up and showed out this game against the Clippers. He's the reason they won that game, and he's a major reason. They don't make the finals without Chris Paul. So Chris Paul is 100% the GOAT of the week this week. He finally fought his demons, and he got over the hump, and he's in the NBA Finals right now. Big shout out to him. You really can't hate on the guy. He's had some rough times throughout his career, but now it's looking up and up for him right now as he is in his first NBA Finals. Yeah,
and he's definitely 100% better than Russell Westbrook. I don't think that it was even I don't know why that was even a conversation last episode, but good for Chris Paul. Got away from Doc Rivers and made it to the NBA Finals. So they just, I'm happy for Chris. For my GOAT of the week, I had 2 guys in mind. I got to go with one of them, though. I'm just interested to see if this makes it a close race or not. Gonna go back to once what made me a GOAT of the week champion for a few weeks in a row, and that's Buddy Boeheim. As you guys do know, the name, image, likeness rule, or rule came out on July 1st. If you guys don't know what that is, now college athletes can make money off themselves, off their brand, off their name, off their image, likeness. Hence why it's called NIL. And Buddy Boeheim was quick on the dot. He was the first athlete in the NIL era to sell gear with his name and have it licensed, to have a licensed trademark of the school. Buddy, there's, and I'm looking at the shirt right now. He said, Cuse Nation, I'm excited to announce I'm teamed up with the Players Trunk to bring you my official Buddy Buckets merchandise. Grab your gear now and be on the lookout for more throughout the season. Orange emoji. So, the full thing, I'm happy that athletes can now make money off their name, image. I think companies, brands were just exploiting these athletes, using their image to make money. And now players like Buddy can sell their shirts and, Buddy was the first, and I think that this is a groundbreaking. It's groundbreaking. It's a new thing, and it's something that hopefully is going to be on and on throughout the future. So that's why I'm going to go with Buddy, the first athlete to do so. It's pretty cool to be the first to, especially in something like this.
Quick question. Was that rule changed by the NCAA or was that overruled by the Supreme Court?
I'm gonna be honest.
It was the
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, just curious. Matt, have you copped the merch yet?
I have not copped the merch.
Not
I'll
true
think
fan.
about it.
Not true fan.
Not to ruin Matt's go to the week here, but JG3 posted the same thing not too long after Buddy Boeheim, and JG3 already has his cameo set up and everything. So
Buddy got his cameo set up too. He got his cameo set up 2 days.
Did you see the prices for those things? I'm not paying that kind of money for a talk from Buddy Boeheim or JG3.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that on the regular, dude. I just slide into the DMs. I've gotten one of them, dude. We're tight like that. But no, it's gonna be really cool to see what these athletes can sell. I mean, Barstool has already signed a bunch of athletes. Most notably, I would think it would be Colin Gillespie from Villanova. He signed with Barstool Sports. I think it's going to profit. Barstool is really smart for getting into that. I think a lot of athletes would be interested in it.
Well, to be fair, like that one girl from some school in Florida reached out to Dave Portnoy asking to be a Barstool athlete, and they're gonna get like a bunch of merch and stuff like that. And although they're gonna get merch and stuff like that, they can make so much money somewhere else. Like I don't know if Barstool is gonna be like paying them to be a part of like the Barstool Athletics team. So far, I think it's just merch, but I mean, I understand you're excited to be a part of Barstool or something like that, but you definitely could make more money elsewhere instead of just getting free merch from Barstool. But that's a conversation for a different day, I guess.
I'll tell you what, though, this was a change that had to happen. The NCAA was profiting way too much off of these kids and pushing them way too hard to be all about athletics and not enough about their
academics.
Their academics. They're on the road all the time. And, it's time for them to actually be able to make some money off of their names that the NCAA has been profiting off of for way too long. Definitely the move had to happen.
I mean, quickly, I did a speech on this.
So did I.
I mean, they were Clemson and Nike. I think it was on Nike's website, was selling a number 16 Clemson University jersey for like $100. And we obviously know who number 16 is. I mean, was the best college football player last year and for the past years, top grossing, or at least college football athlete. And I just thought that was crazy because that's Trevor's money. Like they're profiting off him. And so many, LSU did that with number 9 and Nike, whoever runs that, they did that. It's happened so much with Zion, tons of different athletes. So I'm happy to see this really happen.
You know what this means, though, is when that new NCAA football game comes out, we actually get the actual players in the game, not just like a number 9 signal.
Yeah.
I hope they come out with an NCAA basketball too. NCAA basketball 10, I think it was with Blake Griffin on the cover. That was one of the most underrated games. That game was so fun.
I still play it, Mike.
literally.
Well, we've gotten off topic here. I think we've had a really good episode. As you guys are watching this, it is Monday. So happy 4th. I hope you guys celebrated it well on Sunday. Be safe and enjoy.
Look at our new logo. Look at our new logo.
We do. We are rocking the red, white, and blue logo for the duration of July. And we'll be back next week. Have a safe and healthy holiday, and we'll see you here.